What's poppin' YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Astro Finesse. It's your boy Lil Finesse, Jiggy Hippie, back with another video for y'all. In this video right here, we're gonna be talking about if you have Saturn square Pluto. And I'll pause for the cause. If you don't know how to find your Saturn square Pluto placement, if you don't know how to look up your birth chart, if nobody told you, explained to you, or put you on as to why it's so important that you have to look at yourself through astrology, study yourself through astrology, and overall love yourself through astrology and numerology, don't worry, I got you. There's a couple of videos, I'll put the link in the description. You have to watch them first to become hip to the knowledge of what I'm about to talk about right now. So if you look at your birth chart or your natal chart, it's the same thing, and you realize you have Saturn square and Pluto, the videos for you. So without further ado, let's just get it poppin', shall we? Alright, now boom, Saturn square Pluto. Before we get into this very difficult, extremely difficult aspect, I'm going to break down what does a square mean in astrology, what does a square mean to you personally in your birth chart, what does a square mean in general. So scientifically, the logical term of it, the layman terms I'll say, of what a square in astrology means is when there's two planets 90 degrees away from each other, causing a square aspect. And the aspect is the way that these planets are aspecting each other causes you as a person having this in your chart to feel some type of way, feel some type of friction, feel some type of obstacles. Squares are negative in the definition, but when you look at squares in another aspect, squares actually force you to take action. Squares actually show you your obstacles in your face, show you your obstacles in your life, and they force you to take some type of action in order to overcome these squares and make the negative to a positive. An example that I always use for squares is looking at a four-way crossway. When you got one person on the top, one person on the left side or the right side, causing a 90-degree angle, and they're both at the stop sign. A square is like having both cars trying to meet each other in the middle at the same exact time, causing friction, causing discombobulance, if that's the word, causing you to feel conflict and obstacles in your life. Another example is if you have a white shirt, a square is like having that black dot on your white shirt, causing you to take action to take off that white shirt once you realize the black dot, once you realize the conflict, once you feel the tension, once you realize there's something not right in your life obstacle-wise, or you're always going through this or feeling some type of way, causing you to take action to take off that shirt in order to change the negative into a positive. The last example I'm going to use is if you're walking and you have a rock inside your shoe. A square is like every time you're walking and you step on that rock inside your shoe, feeling that friction, feeling that pain as you're walking, the square forces you to feel it, to go through the conflict, to understand there's something not right, take the action to take off the shoe, take out the rock, to consciously be aware, consciously work on it, consciously self-evaluate yourself, self-heal yourself, and to self-look at yourself through that square aspect, causing you to take action, take off the shoe, take out the pebble, making the positive, turning the negative into the positive. So square in astrology is a negative placement, causing conflict and friction in your life. But once you are aware of it and can consciously look at the inheritance of what's happening in your life and change certain aspects about yourself, you can overcome that square and actually change the negative into a positive. So boom, what does Saturn mean in astrology? We already know Saturn is a malefic planet. Saturn is the planet of restrictions and structure, and it's a planet of making things like morals and Godfather time, things that are very slow to moving, kind of causing you to do things in a very slow pace. But Saturn also makes it hard on you at first because it pushes you by consciously making obstacles come into your way. So Saturn is a tough planet, limitations, structure, things that are tough in general. So Saturn already is a tough planet in general. Now what does Pluto mean? What does Pluto represent? Pluto, we already know, represents death and rebirth, transformation. And that death and rebirth, transformation energy with this placement is going to be very prevalent in my explanation, so keep that in mind. So death, rebirth, transformation, the underworld, sex, secrets, other people's money, other people's resources, things that are not seen, taboo energy, taboo things. So understand that Saturn, a malefic planet that forces restrictions and structure and makes things slow to moving, does not like to do things in abundance like Jupiter, It likes to do things very methodically and structured and organized and disciplined. Discipline is the key word. Very disciplined. And we have Pluto, which is planet of power, regeneration, destruction, rebuilding, death, rebirth. That type energy, that dark kind of underworld, low-key taboo energy, but also rules power. What does it mean when you have these two planets squaring up with each other in tension and friction, trying to cross the stop sign at the same time, causing a destructive kind of energy? So to start, as we already know, Saturn also, if I forgot to mention, represents authority figures. It's not always, it represents the father figure, but if you're the type that don't have the father figure in your house, it could represent the mom being the authority figure on you. So it's not the father itself, but the authority figure in your life. The person that enforced rules, that enforced authority in your life. So what happens with these people? Most likely, to start off, generally speaking, these people have a strong dislike for authority. When I say strong dislike, anything Pluto touches, it turns it into a more powerful dynamic, turns it into a more intense dynamic. So they have an intense dislike for authority because most likely, as they're growing up, and the square aspects, squares in general in astrology, usually happen the most during your younger years, usually go through the most conflicts during your younger years. And as you get older, it's your responsibility to kind of change that into positive. So it's not your fault going through these things happening to you in the younger years, but it's your responsibility to change it as you become an adult. So most likely these people growing up, they've been through circumstances where the authority figure in their life was very dominant, very controlling, that Pluto aspect. The authority figure was kind of pushing them to do something they did not want to do. The authority figure kind of pushed them into telling them that this is what status looks like. This is what being an upstanding citizen looks like. This is what being responsible, or this is what being successful in this lifetime looks like. They kind of pushed their morals onto you. They kind of pushed their kind of ideologies onto you. At the same time, most likely these people also, when it comes to Pluto, been through something traumatic that they didn't feel protected or didn't feel loved enough, or they went through something extremely traumatic that forces them to kind of grow up extremely fast and raise themselves in a way extremely fast internally. So because of this, when it comes to authority, or somebody trying to change what you're trying to do, or somebody trying to force you to become something, like let's say society in general, a lot of times people don't like the way society try to push certain agendas and try to push certain ways of living. Any type of thing that forces you to change your way, to force you to transform yourself, y'all have a strong dislike for authority. And now the negative of this is a lot of times you could be put into authority figures role. You could be put into authoritative roles. You could be put into or be looked at or pushed into becoming authority. And because of that strong dislike, you could use that energy to influence or to manipulate, or you could use that dislike for authority so much to try to run or do your own agenda in a way. But most likely with these people, the authority figures is a strong dislike for you. And because of this, y'all are made to transform yourself. Y'all are made to go through changes. And now Pluto does not like to change. Pluto likes to hold on to things. Pluto does not like to transform forcefully. It likes to go by its own pace. So when somebody's forcing it, that's where the underworld energy comes in. That's where the internal conflicts come in, because Pluto likes to move at its own pace. So when somebody's trying to force you to transform, even though it's for your benefit, that strong dislike for authority, that strong dislike for change can make you very stubborn or very stuck in your way, as in not trying to change for nothing. And that could be to your detriment, because we all have to grow and change in a certain way, especially if someone else sees something in us that we have to change by. So going off that topic of being strongly disliking authority, the tough part about this placement is, in order for y'all to grow, in order for y'all to succeed in your definition of success, y'all do have to go through traumatic events. Y'all do have to go through, and y'all already know this, by the way, if you have this placement, you realize throughout your life that you're always going through something. There's always something blocking you. There's always some boundary. There's always some obstacle coming into your way. It's like y'all do have to go through the regeneration process, the death and rebirth process, before you can actually grow and become successful into whatever your definition of success is. So look at a skyscraper in the cities, how tall and grand skyscrapers are. Understand that before the skyscrapers grow and are built to be as tall as they are, there has to be a hole dug 1/3 of the height of the skyscraper, meaning that you have to go deep underground. You have to dig and dig 1/3 of the height of the skyscraper underneath the ground before it grows to where it has to be, before it grows into the height that it has to be. So pertaining to you, a lot of times you have to go through the traumatic events, through the trauma, through the regeneration, through the death. You have to dig yourself deep down, go through the darkness low key, like really have to go deep down into your soul, deep down into yourself, deep down into your environment that can be not conducive to you. You have to go through influences and energy that is restrictive and boundary filled. Remember, Saturn is really restrictive and puts obstacles in your way. A lot of times you find yourself going deep down, finding like, why is this happening to me? Y'all could ask yourself, why is this happening to me? Why me a lot? But understand that that's all part of the process. You got to dig that hole 1/3 of the height of your success. You have to dig that hole deep down for the foundation. Your foundation is like trauma. Your foundation is obstacles. Your foundation is like going through the shits, I say. You got to find that foundation of the darkness before you find yourself getting up, building that skyscraper as high as possible, building your success as high as possible. So I say that to help you understand that don't look at yourself or don't look at your current situation as an end all be all. Because the tough part about this placement is a lot of times the obstacles that come into your way, the friction that comes into your way is going to be times 10, because Saturn already by itself gives restrictions, gives limitation. Saturn already by itself is an enforcer of boundaries and is an authoritative figure, is the father figure for the whole zodiac, for the whole astrology. So it is giving you rules, it is authoritative figure, it is telling you what to do by itself already. Then we have the Pluto energy, the Pluto planet, which is power, which is death and rebirth, which is going through destruction and regeneration. Having these two planets not in harmony with each other, so you having this placement can find yourself going through deep darkness. If you don't allow your mind to go down that rabbit hole, as in my life is done because this is me, I'm so unlucky, I have no future. If you're always thinking in the negative, even though negativity comes your way a lot, and it's sad to say, I hate saying this, I like to be positive on my videos, but I have to be real. Negativity does happen in your life a lot. At first, that's the hole being dug, that's the 1/3 of the height of a skyscraper being dug, that's your foundation being dug, helps you out become stronger. The more tough things you go through, the more strong you become when you resurrect yourself. So even though a lot of negativity does come your way, not looking at it as the end all be all, having faith in yourself, having trust in yourself, having the ambitious energy, because Saturn is ambition, as in your success, your status. Remember, Saturn rules the 10th house, rules Capricorn. That's a success and the status in this lifetime. So you definitely have a power of trying to become something in this lifetime. With obstacles coming in your way, going through that, and once the foundation is built, dug underneath the ground, all that energy, all that ambition, all that true passion you have to become the best version of yourself grows into that skyscraper. The more you stick with the grind, the more you stick with the plan, the more you don't give up on yourself, the more you're not too hard on yourself, not getting influenced by people around you so much, not getting so sorry for yourself because of the influences and the obstacles, because you're given these obstacles and influences because you're strong enough to handle it. You are given obstacles because you are strong enough to handle these things. Do not give up on the trauma that happens. Do not give up on the obstacles that happen, because they're bound to happen. So I'm telling you these to understand that because of how strong you become after you dig the foundation, when you get up to the skyscraper, when you become that person you want to be, when you become successful, when you become that authority figure in your own way, when you become who you want to be, besides your parents telling you who you want to be or society telling you who you want to be, once you tap into your own true power through the transformation, through the regeneration, through the obstacles, through the shits, I say, you become extremely powerful, Pluto, and become extremely successful, extremely prominent, extremely authoritative, Saturn, if y'all are using it in a harmony. If y'all using it in harmony and not in friction and conflict. So I'm gonna end y'all with this, as understanding that this placement on paper is very tough, is very hard. On paper, definition wise, is a very extremely difficult placement to have. But if you think about it in a positive way, as in like, I'm gonna become stronger after this. I am strong. This is why I'm getting these tests. This is why I'm getting these obstacles. I can overcome these things, and once I build my foundation, I am going to become who I want to become. Like, having Pluto in any aspect automatically generates power, automatically generates intensity, automatically generates a strong need to achieve what you want to achieve. Having Saturn there, which makes it restrictive, makes it calculated, makes it disciplined. Saturn is not all bad. It just forces you to slow down and go through it the step-by-step type way. But the more steps you take and not giving up, not feeling sorry for yourself, the more steps you take up that ladder, up that hill, the more blocks you build on that skyscraper, you're going to watch yourself. In the end, it's like a long-term kind of energy. Think long-term. Don't look at yourself as what your life is looking at right now. The more long-term energy, the more long-term goals you set for yourself, the more obstacles that you overcome, because you're going to always overcome obstacles because you're built for it. You're built to go through transformation. You're made to transform in this reality with this placement. The more obstacles you go through, you realize in the end, you're going to be extremely strong and powerful and able to actually hold yourself high and be like, I've been through all this, look where I've come from, and in turn be able to help other people. A lot of times, Pluto doesn't get the reputation of healing, but Pluto heals because they know what it's like to be dug underneath the ground. They know what it's like to have that 1/3 of the skyscraper height dug underneath, the torture, the transformation, the rebuilding stage, the death stage. Pluto energy people know what it's like to be down there. So once you're up where you need to be, you're going to be able to help other people, transform other people, heal other people. And something to be aware of with this placement, because Pluto can be manipulative, and you can have a lot of pent up, built up energy, because like I said, Saturn already likes to be restrictive and hold things in. Pluto likes to have power and also hold things in. So be careful of your emotions that you could really be constricting inside yourself to the point that people around you won't know how you're truly feeling about something. But because of that Pluto energy, that Pluto-Saturn friction happening, Saturn kind of holding that Pluto energy to the max, and Pluto doesn't like to be held down to the max. It could pop up and erupt at the most unsuspected moments, or it could be manipulative to get where you want to get. If you're doing these things in a negative, if you're the less evolved type Pluto square Saturn person, you could find yourself trying to reach the top in manipulative type ways, or sneaky type ways, or plutonic type ways, which is not being truth and upfront. But if you're actually working on these things, setting these goals, trying to work on yourself, going through these obstacles, overcoming these obstacles, looking through the future as where you're going to be, skyscraper, the high skyscraper, where you're going to be, and not where you are right now, which is probably dug underneath the foundation, the torture foundation, the transformation foundation. Once you transform yourself, you'll see how powerful you become, and in turn be able to heal and help others around you. So that was my video on Pluto square Saturn. I hope y'all enjoyed that. My next video is going to be on Neptune square Saturn. You already know I'm about to go in. If y'all subscribe to my channel, appreciate all y'all for real, you already know. But if you still haven't subscribed yet, go ahead, handle it one time for your boy. Don't forget to drink your water, mind your business, and be safe out here. It's your boy Lil Finesse Jiggy Hippie. I'm going to see all y'all when I see y'all.